Hello, this is RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Mobile Weekly / Mobile Q&A. We go over all latest news that happened during the week of mobile and answer your questions live. If you have a question you want to ask, just ask it in the comment section down below and I will answer it before the end of the show. Sorry for the delay, I had some hiccups that I was trying to get rid of them. So now we are getting ready to start. So again, if you have some questions, get ready to ask them in the comment section down below and I will get to them before we end the show today. All right, so the first bit of information right now is going to be having to deal with the Galaxy Note 20. Now, we have two things that leaked this week about the Note 20, so let's get to the first one. And the first one rather is interesting because it all comes down to, is the Note 20 not going to have a camera because Samsung hasn't seen it pay off as much, and could it have an alternative? So the time of flight sensor has been in a couple of devices recently, coming from Samsung to LG to others, and the whole idea behind it is to give a better bokeh effect. Now, the reason why this has kind of been questionable is because other devices have gotten away without getting it. Even Samsung's front camera doesn't have the time of flight sensor, but it is able to do the blur effect in live video. So Samsung is thinking about ditching it for the Note 20 because if it's only costing them money, then obviously it's not really beneficial to get it. And I could see again why this is, because we've seen it with the front camera still being able to do it without a time of flight sensor. So we'll see. And the thing I point out is, if developers are going to develop for Apple's LiDAR, then why just not use LiDAR as well? I think that is probably going to be what Samsung ends up doing. I don't think they might do it on the Note 20. I think it's going to be too big of a change to it that quickly, but I can see definitely on the S20 next year, maybe Samsung adopt LiDAR, since if you already have app developers developing for LiDAR, then it's all the better to just use that going forward. So I could see that possibly being more used instead of the time of flight camera, because the time of flight, again, it hasn't been the wow factor that we thought it would be. Like, the bokehs haven't really got better in the past 2 years since they've come out, and I think that's what the idea was behind it. But since it hasn't really happened, I think it really is just the whole difference of why put it on there if it's only going to cost, it's going to raise the price of the device, and then again, not really be a big benefit. So I can definitely see them getting rid of it, and why. The other thing with the Note 20 is that Snapdragon, or rather Qualcomm, is not coming out with a new Snapdragon this year for flagships. It looks like because of everything that's going on and because just of the bandwidth for everything, it looks like Qualcomm will not be having a 865 Plus processor this year. Now, the Plus variant generally comes out for the second half of the year phones, but usually does skip the Note series because it typically comes out closer to October phones than the August phone. So because of that reason, Samsung usually skips this on the Note series. They never usually have the Plus, or varies from year to year really. But because of this, then you won't have that issue anymore. No device will have a Plus model, except maybe, who knows, some gaming phones that come down the line, possibly something along those lines. But that is what we're seeing right now. That it looks like Samsung will have the same processor on the Note 20 that they did the S20, but at least this year it's not calling further back, basically, because of it. And in other news, the Galaxy Watch has gained multiple certifications. So the first half was that they are certified in Korea now, South Korea, but they have also now been certified in China. So it does look like we are going to see a new Galaxy Watch for the second half of this year. The question is, what is really the range that keeps going for it? Are we going to have a Galaxy Watch 2, or are we going to have an Active 3? And that does look like the big question. Also, it looks like it's going to come with more internal storage. Maybe that means that Samsung is trying to put more apps and more development behind it. I would really like this. I would really also like, if my contacts stop moving, first of all, but also I would really like to see some more development for apps, because I think that's something that we don't have as much of on Tizen, obviously. I think the big thing that everyone would want is Google's Assistant and other things such as that on a Tizen watch. I really wish we can get Google Maps and things like that on there. I think Samsung's Health is better than Google's Health. So I just the mashing of those two would be really good, and I could see it going very well. But we'll have to wait and see, and we'll also have to wait and see how good the battery, everything really is overall with this smartphone. It has Wi-Fi certification, Bluetooth certification, it's all set. So now it's just a matter of is it coming out with the Note, which does make the most sense, and that's when we should see the next Galaxy Watch 2 or the Active 3. Let me know in the comments section, which one would you prefer? Would you prefer a Galaxy Watch 2 or a Galaxy Active 3? I switch off between them. I have the Active on right now, but the screen protector is starting to come off again, so I probably will switch to my Galaxy Watch over here. So let me know what you guys prefer. And Phoneria did a really good chart of this, so I wanted to kind of go over it with you guys, and it kind of really lends the idea behind the different 5G bands out in the market. So more so, I think the really big thing is where you're getting 5G from. And we've been through the low band, the mid band, the high band in the past, so I'm not really going to go over that too much. What we're really going to be going over today is the different spectrums and which bands you're getting in which countries. So the big thing to kind of know is that the US is following more so South Korea and Japan. That is the bandwidth that the US is really following, whereas Europe and China are more in line than anyone else. However, the one that every company is kind of having a bandwidth is the 27.5. So that is the universal one across all of these different countries that are coming up with their 5G standards. So that is the band that means that, yes, you will get 5G if you get a Chinese phone in the US. You will get one if you have the Europe phone in the US, and you will have one for Japan in the US. But to really get the most compatibility, Chinese phones will do better in Europe, Europe phones will do better in China. And again, for the US, you're going to have the best range in South Korea and Japan. So that kind of gives you an idea of how these are falling into place. Because again, they will still be different. They'll work, but they're not going to have all the same 5G signals that we, again, would love to have kind of a unity. Everyone using the same 5G bands across each country. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen like that. There is going to be one band that is more universal. But again, that's in each country, not in every carrier. So you have to keep that in mind too. Some carriers might not carry. In China, they might not carry the 27.5 band. They might only have the 24.7 or the 26.5, but not the 27.5. So that is the thing you have to keep in mind is although 5G will be kind of universal across these with one band at least, you're not going to get the same in each carrier in each country. So keep that in mind, just something to keep out for, especially because I know we always get talked about these, oh, these are really great 5G phones in China, bring them over to the US, and you're worried if it's going to work the same. It's definitely not going to have the same connectivity. It will still have 5G, but nowhere near the level that you want it to have. All right, then the big news this week in mobile was definitely the Moto Edge and Moto Edge Plus finally being official. And overall with these two devices, I'm kind of ambivalent to them. Basically, like it looks like, yes, they did the 108 megapixel camera. They obviously did the very curved display in a time when those are kind of going away from Samsung and LG. But here's the main thing. So the Edge Plus is really the highlight of it. The Edge is kind of like more of a mid-ranger. But the Edge Plus is 6.7-inch display, 10 hertz. You have the Snapdragon 865 with 12 gigs of RAM. You have the sub 6 millimeter wave, which really is the regular millimeter wave because it's on Verizon only for the US. So unless you get an unlocked variant, you're not going to get the better version of 5G on it. You also have the fastest built-in storage, 256 UFS 3.0. You have 5,000 milliamp battery, which is really good. And 18-watt fast charging, which really isn't that fast, and 15-watt wireless charging, which is really fast. So there are some good things about this phone. overall, though, for me, the camera, it still seems okay. It doesn't seem that great from what we've seen in most test photos. We'll have to wait to see more as reviews come out for people that receive these devices. But for me, it's just kind of like it's another phone instead of being the phone. And the fact that it's only on Verizon in the US really kind of just like I'm like, okay. It's kind of like when a big phone comes out in a different country. Like a lot of people are talking about like, oh, look at this phone or look at this, new Huawei phone. I'm like, that's great, but it doesn't really work in the US. So that's cool. The technology's out there, but it's not really for me. Same thing when I hear a phone only being for Verizon or only being for AT&T. It has nothing to do with me because I won't use the device. So that is kind of how I feel about this phone. It's good looking. I like some of the features about it, but overall, I think it's just kind of like Moto catching up, and they're not quite there yet, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Are any of you guys really interested in this phone? Are you guys on Verizon? Do you guys think that, wow, these really can stand out? I mean, the photos that Moto sent obviously look really good, but those often do compared to what we actually get in the end. Overall, I think it's Motorola catching up. I don't think they're quite there yet, and I think $1,000, even for a phone this good, is still not where you need to be. I think you should have dropped the price further to really compete or to really sell, because at this price, I don't think they will. Let me know what you guys think again in the comment section. I do not think this phone will sell. I think if they priced it lower, then maybe it would have. Yes, people are saying, well, if you compare it to the Samsung, it's 1,400 and this is 1,000, so it's $400 less. Yes, but people aren't buying that Samsung as much as Samsung wanted. So Samsung is going to go down in price as the year goes on. So again, 5G, I understand it's expensive. I understand but at the same time, if they're not selling, and especially in a time like this, you should have cut better deals, better promos, something better, because I think this phone will just pass everything by until it gets extremely discounted in Verizon, which is what Verizon does if a phone doesn't sell well. They just discount it like crazy. So yeah. All right. Now, this one I thought was very interesting because I felt it was coming. The question really was, is it going to be here? Is it going to be Bing Maps? Which maps is it going to be? And now we have our answer. Huawei, of course, has to have an alternative to Google Maps since they cannot use Google Maps on their smartphones anymore. So their alternative is Here We Go. Now, Here Maps has been an alternative to Google for a while. It's actually what Samsung uses on their smartwatches for Tizen. So it has been an alternative. It's never been as good. It's kind of like Apple Maps. It's there, but again, no one really uses it compared to Google Maps. Google Maps is just better. It's the most up to date, and you either use Google or use Google because the two top map apps are Google Maps and Waze, and Google owns both of them. So overall, I think it's good that we still have some more competition overall, but at the same time, it's just Huawei needing to get an alternative because they can no longer use Google. Funny in fact, that's why they couldn't use Waze either, because Waze uses Google Maps. And this I found kind of sad, actually. And again, where is he going to go? John Legere has basically stated that he he left the board of directors early. Now it's only a few weeks early. He was planning on leaving eventually, but it's really, again, in order to pursue other options. So here is the question, and I think it's a question on a lot of the tech world's mind. Where is John Legere going, and which company would you want to see him become CEO of? Because I think that's such a big thing for this guy. I mean, for one, does he deserve to take a year off if he wants? Absolutely. Absolutely. If he wants to take a whole year off, he definitely should. I mean, the things he's done for that company were extraordinary. And it's arguable if someone else could have done it with the same level of success. But here's the thing. What company could he really turn around next? Say if he was to turn around a company. I personally would love to see him take over a company. Like, it wouldn't happen because it will always be, it's going to be a difference of culture. but I would love to see him take over something like LG. I think if he would take over a company like LG, that would be so huge because you know, the crap he could talk about Samsung, the personality he could give it. I mean, it's something like that I think could really turn LG around. So I'd be very curious to see what can happen. Overall, I really am just looking to see how it would, where he would go, who would offer him the most money, and what would be interesting enough for it to happen. But I'm very curious to see where he'll go, where he'll end up. I really think though that wherever he does, it will be interesting to see if he can strike magic a third time. Because I forgot what company it was before he was with T-Mobile, but he did the same thing essentially. He brought it back from the dead, and that's basically what he did to T-Mobile. So the fact that if he does that again, he will definitely go down as one of the best CEOs overall for what he's done for a company, right up there with Bob Iger for just completely turning a company into so much more than it was before him. So let me know what you guys think. I think John Lester is obviously one of the best CEOs out there for what he did for his most recent company. And let me know what you guys think he should do and where should he go. Let me know in the comment section down below. Again, I just think LG would be such an interesting pick. Again, it won't happen because like he would be the CEO of America. I don't think LG as a Korean company would allow an American being or just someone not Korean being the CEO of their company. It's just I don't think it fits. But if they were to do it, it would be very, very interesting. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I cannot wait to see where he goes. But yeah, let me know. All right, guys, that was all the news for this week. Now let's get to your questions. Again, if you have a question in the comment, if you have a question you would like to ask it in the comment section down below, and I will answer it before the end of the show. While I take this quick break real quick to get a cup of water, I will say hit the like thumbs up as well. It really definitely helps out the channel. All right. Wow, we have someone all the way from Austria. That is really cool. Thank you for tuning in. I always like to see just when I do see like I check the geo map sometimes with my viewers and just like how many different people from different countries or different even regions in the states and all this kind of stuff. It's always crazy to see just one video connecting people. Hey, Ricky Rich. I've never heard that. I have a friend named Richie, so I always call him Richie Rich, but never heard Ricky. Ricky is always Pretty Ricky, all the different, Slick Rick, all the different nicknames that Rick has. YouTube Tech Guy is back. Yes, sorry for the delay again. And I do have 2 videos that I recorded already, so they will be going up. I didn't have as much time this week, and just taking care of some home stuff as much as possible. Have to make sure everyone's safe and everyone gets time. All right, so I've been noticing for the past couple of years that phone manufacturers are just leaking information about the upcoming device. Is that the new norm now? Yes, and I do think it's multiple fold. So I think that manufacturers leak their own stuff sometimes? Absolutely. I do absolutely believe that to be true. However, I will say this also, what I have learned at least over the past couple of years is tech companies, as in tech reporters, pay good money for leakers, and really good money coming out of newspapers specifically or media specifically in that region. So like if you are going to offer something to a Korean media outlet and I'm be like, hey, I have the first image of the Note 20. How much will you give me for it? They'll give, the equivalent of like $10,000 or something along those lines. And I mean, if that is what the factory worker would make maybe in 2 or 3 months or 4 months, or I don't know, however they would make, hey, they're going to take it. So people will risk it for the reward sometimes, definitely. And I think that is, once you do it, I think that's what, why we get them. but definitely there are some controlled leaks, I would say, as well. But they usually are because if someone is going to leak it, they rather leak it, give a better look of it, rather than it leak by itself. So yeah, that's kind of the stories behind it. It's better if you know something will leak. It's better that you control the leak yourself than someone else tell the story. Because if someone, when the S10 came out, right, it was a really big hole punch. If Samsung leaks it, they might be able to control the story more than someone looking at it for the first time. Look at this ugly ass bubble, and the thing or something along those lines. So that is basically what you can avoid for it. So yeah. Think your contact fell out? Oh, contact? No, it didn't fall out. It was giving me issues. So no, I don't think it did. Unless you guys saw it happen on video, I don't think it did. No, we're good. I prefer the Galaxy Watch 2. I would as well, quite frankly. I like the bezel still. Another great show. How good is Google Sheets? Google Sheets I use quite often. It's not as good as Excel, especially because Excel can get really a lot more in depth. But I will say Google Sheets is obviously really good for multiple people working on it at the same time, which is what I've had to do. So that's why I've used Google Sheets in my most recent job. So yeah, Google Sheets is really good for people using it at the same time. You can do that with Microsoft, but everyone has to have a Microsoft account, 365, all that kind of stuff. If you do have it, great. It works perfectly. It works better then. But for, I would say, mid-range to starter up companies, they're going to use Google Sheets because it's free. Let's see. Watch 2. I need the bezel industrial look. I am the same way. Especially because me, I was upset with the Active 2 because this is the first watch I've ever scratched. I've never scratched another watch. Smartwatch. But yeah, so that's one thing I was like, it really sucks. Wow, everyone's liking the Galaxy Watch 2 over the Active. Galaxy Watch 2, but it would also depend on specs. I know they can differ from depending on the variant. That is definitely true as well. You're always going to get a thicker watch or a bigger face watch with a bigger battery compared to a smaller or mid watch. You're going to get a smaller battery then. So definitely size plays a factor in the specs, especially when it comes to battery. Let's see. Have not gotten the latest good luck update on the S20 Ultra with Verizon. Anyone else? Yeah, I do not have Verizon. I have T-Mobile, and I did get all the latest updates so far with my S20 Plus. Funny enough, I was reading some articles, and it was more of opinion or speculation rather, so I didn't go over it as a news. But I did think something was kind of interesting where people are saying that the Note 20 might not have the 108 megapixel camera now. Now, the reason why this is conflicting is because currently, apparently, Samsung's working on a 150 megapixel camera. But the reason for it, they're saying, is because the 108 megapixel camera has had all these focusing issues, which again, I think if they can just put a 108 megapixel camera with dual pixel technology, you're going to take the focusing issues away. But that is the big thing. Again, I myself did do that, right? I sent back my S20 Ultra for the S20 Plus, and that's the one I kept. So yeah, am I very happy about that? No, I really did like the bigger screen. I liked a lot of the Ultra better, but I just could not stand the focus issue. And again, they've been fixing it apparently, so that's great. But it's also been having problem after problem after problem. Do you think the Fold 2 will have a bendable glass for the S Pen rather than plastic they use for the Fold? So this is pretty interesting. So if you watched last week, right, on Sunday, the current new rumor was that it would no longer have an S Pen. that they wouldn't have an S Pen anymore. And the very next day on Monday is actually when conflicting rumors came out. And so that's the big thing. It was like, well, no, actually, now it will have, it will have sorry, I saw a comment. It kind of throw me off. Now it will have an S Pen, and I wish it would have an S Pen. I really do want that, but we'll have to wait to see how it kind of goes. Um, overall, it really is the big difference is going to have to be that if the S Pen can be on there, I'm a lot more excited. If it's not on there, I'm not as excited. But we'll really have to take a look at it because it's something that I saw images of and I fell in love with them, especially with an S Pen. Um, Again, I think the Fold 2 needs an S Pen this year. I really do think that it needs it. But let me know what you guys think. If the Fold 2 doesn't have an S Pen, would you be interested in it? Because I think I'm kind of not if it doesn't have one. Which console is going to be better, PS5 or Xbox Series X? Which one's better? That depends. Which one has more exclusives? PS5 already has more exclusives. And the reason for that too is because Xbox has already said they will have no exclusives that you couldn't get on another Xbox console or on PC. So that's great for consumers because it means that if I have a current Xbox, I have no reason to upgrade. That's bad for Xbox because if I have a current Xbox, there is no reason for me to upgrade. So that I think is a really it's a bad business, good business in a sense. You're getting goodwill for your fans, but you are not giving people a reason to upgrade. It's why iPhones, like everyone keeps asking this question like it's not a clear answer. Why doesn't the iPhone SE have night mode? I don't understand it. They have the processor to put it on there. Why doesn't it have it? Because Apple doesn't want to give it to it. They want you to get that once you get the better one. So it was like, yeah, it's like that's the whole big thing, right? It's like it really is something like why would you do it? But yeah, so that's my whole thing. It's like PS5 will probably sell better because it will have the exclusives. All it needs is Spider-Man 2, God of War 2, or the new God of War, right? God of War. I don't think the next one would be called Ragnarok. I think that would be for the third one. But whatever, Coldest Night or whatever they call it. That one. Those two, you are set, right? Like PS5 is like, yep, we're buying that one. So yeah, it's all about exclusives. And although I think the Xbox has a lot of things going for it, I think not having exclusives is going to be the biggest Achilles heel. Not bad as they did last time. I mean, the Xbox 360, the Xbox One bombed at launch, right? It completely bombed at launch. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as bad. I don't think it's going to be even as bad as a PS3 bomb, right? The PS3 bombed on their launch. So we've went back and forth, right, with these launches. So we'll see. But in my opinion, if you have to say who's going to win, it's going to be PS5. Who's better? It depends on what you're talking about. I like the active, cleaner look, capacitive touch, bezel. Just needs to be a bit bigger. I can understand that. Yo, I missed the info for the Note 20. We went over, what did we go over for the Note 20? We went over that it might not have a TOF camera, so time of flight camera, and it looks like it also will not have the Snapdragon 865 Plus because the whole idea is that it won't have a Plus variant this year. Qualcomm isn't going to make a Plus variant of the Snapdragon 865 this year. Let's see. Do you think Motorola will ever catch the other major brands? It seems like they are far behind. I mean, here's the thing. You kind of have to do what OnePlus did, but now they are not doing anymore, which I think is why they're falling out of popularity. OnePlus was a company that sold you phones at a discounted price. Always, right? I mean, you had flagship phone specs in a $400 phone, and a $450 phone, $500 phone, 550, 600, 650, 700, 800, 850, 899. That's where we're currently at. So what OnePlus did is what you need to do to gain traction. You need to put an amazing phone with a very small profit margin. Now, that sounds very risky because you're used to getting $300, $400 worth of profit margin per phone sold. What if you make 100? Look, you're not gonna get that much profit margin per phone, but you're gonna sell a lot more phones. That's what companies don't understand, the balance between it. They always are too afraid to go for that, so they just go for more. And the problem is a lot of these companies end up with so much stock in the end that if they had just went with a cheaper price, they would have sold better. But that is, if your name isn't Samsung or Apple, that is pretty much what you need to do. Why didn't Apple or Samsung have to cut price at every turn? Well, it's simple. They didn't need to do it because they spent all their money on marketing. So, alternatively, another way a company can make it is if they match Samsung and Apple's marketing budgets. No other company comes close. Not even Google, which went a lot out in the Pixel 3 and 2, which were the two biggest worst ones, to be quite honest, of the bunch. And then 4 just didn't even matter, but they didn't have as much marketing behind it anymore. So that was another kind of thing that happened. So that's basically the reason why in terms of it. But yeah, that's what I would say. Someone asked what happened to the music. I'm not sure. Not sure what happened to it. Not sure what happened to the music. Can't fix it right now though while I'm live, unfortunately. John Legere, CEO of YouTube. Hello, JK. Had to make the joke. I mean, that would be great. I don't know who the CEO of YouTube actually is because I don't know if probably have a head of YouTube, but I don't know if they have a CEO of YouTube. If they do, they're not really very much a public figure, that's for sure. Third-party launchers like Nova could not utilize Android 10 gestures. At least Samsung has their own one-handed plus, absolutely. When set up correctly, gives you the gestures with Nova, etc. Funny you say that because that's pretty much how I have my Samsung set up. I have used Nova for a long time. I really don't like when some of these Chinese companies don't allow third-party launchers. It really kind of bugs me because I'm such a big fan of Nova. But yeah, I love Samsung's one-handed plus, and that's another video I'm doing is kind of like why Samsung, in my opinion, and I'll break down the reasons why, has a better UI than Android 13. So yeah, it's like it really always kind of baffles me because especially with the iPhone SE, right? iPhone SE, oh my God, but you get updates for years and years to come. Yeah, but Samsung in many ways is ahead of Android by about 3 years in terms of what the operating system already has. Don't get me wrong, I hate the bloatware, but the things they do good, they do way better than Android. So yeah, that's kind of the differences, and I'll go over that for sure. Or if you want more jokes, CEO of Circuit City. John Legere, CEO of Circuit City. That would be really interesting to say the least. Yeah, I don't know how that would kind of work, but it would be interesting to see him as a CEO of a company that low. Circuit City is only really very low now. It would more be interested like him, the CEO of HTC or something like that. That would be kind of interesting to see. I bought a Huawei P30 Pro on eBay for 200 off. Was a great deal, mostly for the cameras. Going to use it with my LG V60. That's interesting. So you got that phone just for the cameras, basically. That's really interesting. I'm very curious to see how much the cameras are going to be better than the LG V60. Like, do a comparison with them and really kind of see what's better, and let me know next week. Do you have any more home tech videos in the making? Yeah, it's just a matter of getting the time to do it, because right now it's tricky because Monday through Friday I'm really all about my day job, and the night is family time, and then I'm just going to bed. The weekends I try to make as much as I can for videos, but it's like I really need a good 8 hours of video recording, and I haven't been able to do that. I've been trying to split it up here and there, so I'm working on it. But yeah, we have right now. I still need to do the doorbell, the smart fridge. Those are the two most recent ones I would say I want to do. I'm also want to do how to set up motion sensors and lights, smart lights out there. So I have a couple of one of those. Like my porch light and my light in my back house are automated, so they go on at a certain time and they turn off at a certain time. So I really like doing that. Um, Also, even just like an outside plug, I have that video coming up. So yeah, some more smart home tech is definitely coming. Through T-Mobile says nothing will change anytime soon. When do you think T-Mobile will start to merge us Sprint users more towards their plans? So you are locked into your own plan, right? But here's the thing. T-Mobile will try to get you over. By the way, they've tried to get me over in a lot of things, which is, well, if you switch over to the T-Mobile One plan, you get Netflix for free. If you switch over to the T-Mobile One plan, you'll get Quibi for free, which Quibi's going to die in a year, less than a year. I've been wanting to do a tech rant on that. That's going to die so quickly. But yeah, so like you get these things for free, right? You get all those fees. You hate paying taxes and fees. T-Mobile will pay it. Here's the thing, though. The reason why I've never moved to the new T-Mobile plan is because I still pay less than if I were to pay for T-Mobile. So basically, meaning that the T-Mobile One plan is a lot more expensive than the current plan I'm on, which I'm grandfathered still into. And there's no incentive to me to really upgrade, because no matter what, I'd be paying about $100 more if I were to move over to this plan. So that is why I have no incentive to move. But that's how they'll try to incentivize you. Just always make sure in the end, what are you actually paying more on, or what are you paying more or less on? So that's the main thing you have to kind of figure out when deciding those. But that's how they'll try to move Sprint users over. Also, you might get better signal if you get a newer phone. So if you had a 2-year-old phone, you're pretty much fine. But if you had a 3 or 4-year-old phones, well, all of those, some were only really more designed for CDMA than CDMA and GSM. So if you're going to get a newer phone, you'll also get better reception. So that's another thing, that if you have a 2-year-old phone, or sorry, more so a 3-year-old phone, you're going to get a better signal if you switch to a newer phone on the new T-Mobile than you would for the old Sprint. Do you think the Note 20 Ultra comes out, they will improve the autofocus, making it a non-issue anymore? I hope so. I think they need to. I don't think that people will be as forgiving if it happens twice in a row. And I know reviewers for sure won't be. So it'll be interesting to see. So about those baby tech rants, teardrop, you sound like, really? So yeah, so if you missed it, I posted on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Follow us on social media at YouTube Tech Guy. And yeah, basically, I went on. I was looking for new toys for my son, and I saw this smartphone and this tablet both have notches on them. The phone had a notch like an iPhone, a huge forehead notch, and a tablet had a teardrop notch. And I'm just like, why do these have notches? You have to understand, these are for under a year old. So it's not like they have a camera on them. These are literally just aesthetic little plastic pieces that they put on top of it. And I'm like, why? Why do it? I said if I found a hole punch notch kid's toy, I would do a tech rant on it. Luckily, I never found one. And I bought him. I got him a tablet and a phone toys under $15 that did not have the notches because I refused to get a notch version. But I was just like, why? Like, why is this a thing? It was so funny to me. I can understand the controlled leaks. It seems like everyone on YouTube announces it before manufacturers. I do see your point. Yeah, and again, that's actually not only just for tech. Movies do that too. So like if test footage leaks, sometimes they'll post the footage themselves. What movie did that happen with that I know? They should have just let the whole movie leak. It was Batman vs Superman, or yeah, I think it was Batman vs Superman. Basically, it was really poorly shot, but they had a shot with the Batmobile, and it was really bad. It didn't look good because it was side profile with like someone's smartphone. It did not look good. So what they then did, because they knew that photo was taken and they knew it would get negative press, what they did was, I forgot his name, the director, Zack Snyder, released a really cool looking, Hollywood shot kind of video where it was very much in the dark but very cool looking, and then did a actual full image press photo with Batman next to it, Ben Affleck next to the Batmobile, showing it off, and it changed the narrative and how cool it looked. Couldn't save the movie, but it did what it did what it was supposed to do. So yeah. Galaxy Watch 2. Okay, so look, we got some Galaxy Watch 2 users there. There we go. I want an S Pen with an IR blaster, headphone jack, and SD card slot. So you want a Note 4. Basically, you want a Galaxy Note 4. That was the last one to have all those things. Two of those I'm actually serious about. Yeah, you want a Galaxy Note 4. That is the phone you deserve, Quiet Storm. The Galaxy Note 4 has all three of those things, no problem. That was such a good phone, though. The Galaxy Note 4, I think, was the peak of notes. It was so good. S Pen would be a great addition to the Fold. The S Pen would allow a little more functionality. Yes, I think it's so big for the Fold because you have such a big display that it would just do so well. And I say that as a person that deeply misses my S Pen. Like, I miss my S Pen so much. I can't wait to get it back. So yeah, hopefully they do not delay it too much. So we'll have to wait and see. Let's see. I think the only reason to upgrade from the Note 10 to the 20 is the camera. I hope Samsung gets that figured out. I hope they do too. I thought the Note 9 to the Note 10 was pretty big because that's the first one that had the wide-angle camera, the whole triple camera setup. I thought that was a very prevalent reason to move forward. But with this one, it would just be the telephoto camera, maybe. And so we'll have to wait till that is. I hope the new Galaxy Watch will bring new features, bring back a couple of old ones. Miss MST. MST is not coming. Sleep tracking, is that not on there? I guess I don't sleep with my watch, so I haven't probably noticed. Still rocking my Gear S3 Frontier LTE. That was a good one. I remember that one fondly for sure. I will say though, the Galaxy Watch, coming from that one to the Galaxy Watch had so much of a better battery life. It had like 3 days longer battery compared to my Gear S. I didn't have the LTE variant, but I did have the Frontier. Yeah, Nova Launcher is a good launcher. I love the Nova Launcher. Flash, what up, dog? Doing good, Flash. How about you? Someone needs to bring back the IR Blaster. I would love for them to bring back the IR Blaster. It's something that I liked when I used, what was the last Huawei I used? I used the Huawei Mate 20, I think. It was such a good phone. And I loved having the IR Blaster back. It was so good to have it back. Daytime work, evenings family time, nighttime, possibly more family. Yeah, yeah, sleep. Uh, you look so small on my iPhone SE. I am in 720p coming to you in your iPhone SE. What carrier are you on? I am on T-Mobile. Yep, same. Grandfathered into T-Mobile from PowerTel. Whoa. I would pay more if I were to switch to a modern current plan. Yep. Good Lord, if they actually made a toy with a hole punch. I swear, I guarantee you they will make a toy with a hole punch by next year for some reason. I don't know why. I'm also grandfathered in my Sprint plan. My plan is amazing, super cheap. I can add additional lines with all the same features of my plan. That is really cool. That's a really cool feature to have. I'm going to T-Mobile to get the S20 Plus to replace my S8 on Sprint. That would be a really good upgrade. I love my Note 4. That was my favorite phone. The Note 4 was awesome, man. Note 4 was awesome. Now, if they made an S Pen powerful enough to Rigsby edition of 50 First Date Questions. And thank you. With that, Quiet Storm, as always, reminding me, I do want to let you guys know that if you do have time, and if you want to have some fun with someone else that you're living with, that is your significant other, or you just want to talk to them and you can play this over the phone even, check out 50 First Date Questions. It is the app that I made a while back, and it is a really great game to play with the significant other. It basically is just a very simple game. You ask a question to them, they ask a question to you, and you see how much you find out about each other. It's something that I would really say that definitely a lot of people find out about the other person. And so with that, it's just a really good time to kind of learn more about the person that you're with, or that you might want to be with, and see if you're compatible. This will tell you if you're compatible or not. I definitely think that, and I'm not guaranteeing it. 50 First Date Questions, links in the description for iOS and Android. And Quiet Storm, thank you always so much for posting them in the chat as well. A little bit quieter today, but if you guys have any questions before we end the show, let me know what your questions are. We got some new true wireless headphones in the show, so we're going to be reviewing that soon. And then what else do we got coming up? We got some stuff lined up for when all this stuff is over. We're going to be reviewing new car stuff and some other things, but that's when all this stuff is over. I'm going to be reaching out to other tech companies too to see what we can check out during all of this. My sound bar, unfortunately, just kind of died, it seems like. At least the TV ARC isn't working anymore, so I'm going to be looking into that and possibly getting a new sound bar too. So yeah, some stuff to really kind of check out. Are you going to get into the Amazon Renew? What is I maybe have not caught on to this. What is Amazon Renew? Excuse me. What is Amazon Renew? Oh, it's just like their refurbished stuff? I'm not really familiar with like specific about Amazon Renew stuff. Are they? I mean, I've seen renewed items for sure on Amazon. I didn't know it had its own section, but it makes sense. Is there anything bad about it that you've heard, or what's new about it? Um, what did you rate the last Star Wars movie? Okay, I have to rate it with context. Because first of all, my rating system is very different. My rating system is see it in theater, see it on streaming, or don't see it. So obviously a lot different from like, oh, I give it a 10 out of 10 or a 8 out of 10 or a 5. I mean, you can say, it's a 7 out of 10, 5 out of 10, and a 1 out of 10, I guess this would be my ranking. Because seeing it in a theater doesn't mean that it's the best movie ever. It's more of if you want to see it, you should see it in theater. And the biggest preface that I have to do for the last Star Wars movie is that I did not, and I really mean I did not, like The Last Jedi. I just hated it as a Skywalker saga movie. Good Star Wars movie, not a good Skywalker movie. And that's what it was. It was the Skywalker trilogy. And that's what it was. If he had other plans to, do kinds of stuff, great. But it was Kathleen Kennedy's fault because she didn't make a coherent storyline anyway. But because I did not like it, and I really didn't like it, I saw it again with my daughter. She's seen now all episodes 1 through 8. So I just need to show her number 9. But here's the thing. I will say for the last Star Wars movie, I liked it and I thought people should see it in theater. But again, I liked it on the preface of it based said F you to episode 7. And that's what I liked so much about it. It was like, yeah, everything that 7 said, screw it. Screw it. Was it rushed and just like completely made no sense linearly? Yes. But again, it could only do so much because episode 8 did that with episode 7, and then episode 9 got back to 7. So that's what it was. That's what it was. So that is what I say. I rated Star Wars. You should see it in theaters because it was a Star Wars movie, and if you wanted to see a Star Wars movie, you should see it in theaters. But yeah, so that's what I rated it. In terms of did I thought it was the best one ever? No. I mean, Star Wars has been better in animated form, has been better in video game form than this last trilogy. But yeah, so that's my opinion. Oh yeah, did you get another haircut? I did actually. I got my stripes back. My forehead makes these lines, so you can never see it until I cut my hair. So I did a 1 or a 2. I think I did a 2 actually. I think I did a 2 all the way around my head. So yeah, so that I did yesterday. It was getting too hot. It is getting very hot in LA right now. So it was just like, yep, time to cut it. So yeah, that's why I did it. When will the Samsung drop prices on the S20s? Well, they already did their first price drop. If you go look at Amazon, they've been $200 off for the past month. So yeah, Samsung basically dropped prices a long time ago. Of course, they drop prices on their own website last because they don't want to. They rather give trade-in deals and all that kind of stuff. But let's see. Oh. So the prices had been $200 cheaper for the past, 4 weeks when we've checked? But I can tell you when I look right now, the prices looks like they went back up. So the S20, I'm seeing if they all went back up. They all went back up. So right now, all of them just went back up. They were all $200 off. The S20 had been $799 for the past definitely 3 weeks because I know I've checked on it at least 3 weeks, but I think it was 4 actually. And then the S20 Plus was $999, which was what it $799 make more sense of what they should have been priced. Now you still get those prices with the international versions, but you no longer get it with the unlocked version. So I would say wait a little bit. They're going to go down in price again. just because they were at that new price for so long that I could definitely see them going down again. So yeah, I would definitely recommend waiting. I wouldn't buy an S20 until it goes back on sale. When you get to buy phones with 90-day return, we might not get to have movie theaters. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing with the movie theaters, actually. I personally bought stock in AMC just because I do see companies possibly buying them out. Amazon being one of them, actually, since we're talking about Amazon. I think Amazon could definitely buy AMC out and it would benefit them. But we'll see. I think movie theaters, I don't think can fail because I don't think you will get billion-dollar movies without movie theaters. On demand is good, but you're not going to get the kind of money you would with the movie theater. So I don't think movie theater companies will allow them to go out of business. And the problem there is that before there were very strict rules on if you make movies, you can't own a movie theater. Because the movie theater industry would go out of business, I think there would be exceptions. But we'll have to wait and see. That's economy, so that's economics. So we'll have to wait and see. I have not seen a lot of Star Wars, but force healing does seem a bit annoying. So force healing's been around forever, and again, it's never been in a Star Wars movie though. So it was in, it was on so much, like mainly the books, all the books. Like force healing was something that was a long time ago, but we never saw it in the movie. And because people thought, Rey was already like given so many things, I think it was kind of like, why would you give it to her? Maybe if we saw Leia do it first, it would have been better. But again, we didn't have a story path, which we should have had. Is it better getting an unlocked phone if you're buying an S20? Um, I don't think it's better or worse really right now because unfortunately it's been an issue in terms of when you see an unlocked phone 2 years ago, it was better than getting a carrier phone. Last year, it was better to get a carrier phone than an unlocked phone because carrier phones got updates quicker. And this year, who knows? It's unfortunately more of a hindsight kind of thing where you see which one is better to get. This year, I got a T-Mobile version. So yeah, that's what I end up getting. We'll have to wait and see. Episode 1 through 6 is fine for me, but just stopping point for me is 6. Every episode after 7, 7, 8, 9 was just a waste of time. Only problem with 4 and currently form is Greedo scene. Yeah, of course. Which they've changed again. I don't know if you heard that in Disney Plus version. They changed it again. Greedo then said something that means I'm going to kill you. I forgot what it started with the M, I think. Malarkey or not malarkey, but it was something like that. Malarkey is an actual word. But it was something along those lines. I forgot what it said, but Greedo said something, and that meant he was going to kill Han. So that's why Han shot first. So that's the new version you get on Disney Plus. So you didn't have any problems with power recently in your area since Friday? No, I mean, hopefully it doesn't happen. But yeah, I've had no issues with power outages in Los Angeles on my side of town in the Long Beach area, but I'm not sure if anyone has in different parts of LA. That would be quite unfortunate. At least me and my family that lives, within 10 to 15 miles of me have had no issues either. Where do you think the Note 20 price will start, and will it have variant without 5G? So there has been more things about that where apparently the Note 20 will have an LTE version in Europe at least. But again, I'm going to, for the purposes of this video, this guest, talk about the Korean and US version, which will both be 5G only. So here's what I think. I think you're going to get, if Samsung permanently drops their prices of their phones, which they should, it should be $799 and $999 respectively for the S20 and S20 Plus. If they do that, then I think the Note will start off at $999. If not, the Note should probably match the S20 Plus, basically, whether that be at $999 new price or $1199 original price, and I think it will go up on the Plus variant or the Ultra variant, whatever they call the new one, to $1499 or $1599. I hope $1499 at the most. I don't even think it should be that high, but we'll have to wait and see what Samsung does. Verizon is giving me 35 gigs of data per month because of the situation, free. Yeah, and that's really cool. The fact that we're getting more of it is really good. So I'm very happy of manufacturing that. I know Allstate just sent me an email that I'm getting partial back on my most recent insurance payment. So that's really cool. So, I mean, companies doing this and understanding, I think, is really important. I will tell you, I was kind of like, after hearing all these companies doing this, and then like, I forgot what credit card it was, but it was credit card. I was a day late on a payment, just because I forgot my reminder to pay it early. And I was a day late, and they still charged me a late fee. And I was just like, well, someone doesn't care. But yeah, so I was just like, oh, that's funny. What do you like better, Android or iOS? I definitely like Android better because I like the freedom to do more, and I'm not locked into Apple's ecosystem at all. I think if you're locked into Apple's ecosystem, then you're really loving it. I'm on Google's ecosystem, so that is cross-platform, and for me, I just can do more with both Windows and Android than I can with iOS and macOS. Glad to hear you're doing well, power-wise. Since you have home now, do you cut your lawn yourself, or is it an HOA kind of thing? Yeah, I have an HOA, so I don't cut my lawn. I have a Note 9, just bought the iPhone SE, first iOS. Didn't want to break the bank. Definitely understand that. If you like it, then definitely stick with it. But I will be doing a video this week on budget phones, so I might want to check that out. If you're not liking it and can see some alternatives, it might be a good buy for you. All right. Yeah, I guess we'll call that a show, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Again, if you can, make sure to hit that like, thumbs up button. It really does help me out. Gotta spend some more family time now, and then, yeah, I'll do some videos this week. Thank you guys always so much for watching. Stay safe out there. This has been RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. You follow us on social media right here. And of course, check out our latest video up there. And right down here, you're going to find the perfect video for you. Or at least that's what YouTube tells me. Thanks again.